Meet one of the most prominent historical figures of the early Middle Ages. He was the first king in the history of the Ukrainian people, a legitimate one and recognized in Europe. He had to live in a turbulent, brutal era of civil strife and Mongol-Tatar raids. But he went down in history as a collector of Ruthenian lands, the ruler of the principality of Galicia-Volhynia, a great reformer, a smart politician, and a wise diplomat. He was also the first among Ruthenian princes to try to end vassalage to Mongol-Tatar conquerors. Prince Daniel of Galicia became the ruler of the Galicia-Volhynia principality in 1238. The principality continued Ukrainian statehood after the Mongol invasion in 1240 that destroyed not only Kiev but also redrew almost the entire map of Eastern Europe. He laid the foundations of the old Ukrainian state, which lasted an amazing 150 years. The Galician-Volhynia principality existed for an impressive 150 years. If compared with modern period of Ukraine's independence, then these are rather long chronological timelines. It was a long period of Ukraine's existence in the form of the Galicia-Volhynia principality as an independent state. The further ruler of the state of Galicia-Volhynia was born in 1201. Into the family of Ruthenian Prince Roman Mstislavovich, who was considered by his contemporaries as the strongest of all the Ruthenian princes at the turn of the 12th to 13th centuries, for which he was nicknamed the Great. It was Roman Mstislavovich who in 1199 founded the Principality of Galicia-Volhynia, uniting the lands of Volhynia and Galicia. The unity was prompted by the need for a joint struggle against encroachments of Poland and Hungary. Prince Roman became an imperious ruler of the huge state to which he added all Ukrainian lands from the Carpathians to the Dnipro. In size, this principality was equal to the territory of the Holy Roman Empire of the German nation. He built in modern terms the system of European security. This project firstly helped to end feuds. Secondly, it offered to introduce the majorate that included the transfer of power to the eldest son to prevent feudal fragmentation. And finally, he proposed to join forces to fight external enemies and introduced the election of the Grand Prince at the discretion of 6 main Ruthenian princes. However, he failed to unite all of Ruthenia. In 1205, he died in a battle with Polish Prince Leszek the White. After Prince Roman's death, Galician boyars deprived his infant sons Daniel and Vasilko of the princely throne. Since that time, the struggle for the throne, which lasted more than 40 years, began. The Galicia-Volhynia state lost not only its unity, but became the scene of wars and attacks of the neighboring states. Ukrainian historian Mikhailo Hrushevsky wrote about the misadventures of the young Prince Daniel and his brother. Amidst continued wars, conspiracies and intrigues, in eternal dismay and danger, Prince Roman's sons grew up. More than once they had to secretly run away from the enemies of their homeland, to walk around other people's yards and face the bitter experience of exile. After Daniel of Galicia turned 18 years old, he gained the backing of the city patriciate, as well as major boyars. He became the ruler and prince of Volhynia. Daniel and his younger brother Vasilko had to fight against various rivals, Ruthenian princes, rebellious Galician nobility, and then with Poles and Hungarians. In 1223, jointly with other Ruthenian princes, Daniel participated in the battle on the Kalka River against Mongols. He was wounded in the chest and retreated from the battlefield. In the spring of 1238, Daniel of Galicia defeated the German knights near the city of Dorohechin, which is today a part of Poland. In Soviet historiography, this event was hushed up intentionally to turn attention to the more significant fact for the Russian history: the first invasion of Mongol-Tatars in the eastern principalities in 1237 to 1238.
Взагалі, ця історія і замовчувалася.
This fact of history went unreported and was falsified due to the limitation of historical sources.
Є обмежений корпус історичних джерел, а ті, які наявні, зокрема, самий головний Галицько-Волинський літопис.
And those that were available, for example, the most important was the Galician-Volhynian Chronicle, which was included in the so-called Hypathian Codex, contained additional inserts and corrections. In this regard, we face such incidents and misunderstandings. In particular, this is due to such a truly significant event as the defeat of the German knights near Dorohechin.
Подія, як розгром рицарів Тевтонського ордену під Дорогочином у 1237 році. І тут же літописець...
And then the chronicler describes in several pages the event known as the Batu massacre that occurred 1,500 kilometers away in Zalesye region, on the territory of the so-called northeastern Rostov-Suzdal principality.
Так зване Батиєве побоїще.
The Mongol invasion became for Daniel a test for his abilities as a commander and a ruler.
Взагалі, хроністи...
Chroniclers note his unique quality, namely communicative skills. Obviously, he was a natural-born diplomat. He also introduced such a value into policy, very unpopular then and now, as morality. He was able to make peace with his late father's enemies. When Mongol-Tatars demanded from Daniel to hand his capital Halych to them, he went to Batu-Han. Such visits had been carried out by other Ruthenian princes in order to swear allegiance to Mongols and receive Han's Yarlik, or permission for the conditional right to rule their principalities. When the Han asked Daniel whether he drank black milk or kumis, according to a chronicler, he answered that he had never drunk this bevy. But if the Han gave an order, then Daniel obeyed his order, thus showing his respect and obedience to the Han.
Насправді, фахівці давно вже зрозуміли, що там
In fact,
відбувалося.
specialists had long understood what was happening there. Black kumis was a gift of respect then, and the fact that the Mongols treated him to it just means that the Horde's Han recognized him as his ally.
І взагалі там ситуація склалася так.
And the situation was so favorable that Horde rulers benefited more from this Galicia-Volhynian state, which was an outpost of their possessions in the west than its subordinate position.
На заході, ніж підневільне їх ставлення.
Daniel, swearing allegiance to Han Batu, was not about to follow this oath for too long. At the same time, Han's Yarlik protected him from claims to his territory not only from rival princes, but also from aggressive western and northern neighbors. Prince Daniel took advantage of the new atmosphere of political stability to begin the economic revival of his state. Daniel of Galicia could maneuver between Silla and Charybdis for an extended period. On the one hand, there was the pragmatic West. On the other hand, there was the predatory oppressive East. Daniel moved his capital farther from the steppe to the city of Holm, founded by him, today Helm in Poland. He sought to turn it into a major economic center. Holm was not the only object of Daniel's plans. He also strengthened old cities and founded new cities such as Lviv, the future capital of the region. The city was named after Daniel's son Leo.
Згідно Галицько-Волинського літопису, місто Львів вперше згадується під 1250.
According to the Galician Chronicle, the city of Lviv was first mentioned in 1256, in the context that from this city, as the chronicler notes, it was possible to see fire in Holm. However, the question immediately arises, what kind of place is this? What hill is this, which allowed to see the flame burning at a fairly considerable distance from Lviv?
And
modern researchers have guessed. The fact is that the first location of Lviv was outside the modern city. It is a few kilometers east from Lviv, near the village of Vinniki.
Саме там знаходилися
There were Chertovy Cliffs. Today they are known as Chotovy Cliffs, because there was a military garrison with a watch military point at the time.
військова залога і був такий сторожовий військовий пункт.
Prince Daniel of Galicia focused his foreign policy on restoring relations with Western neighbors and forming alliances in order to have their support during confrontation with the Mongol-Tatars.
Крім того, намагався у своїй політиці тримати
In addition, in his policy he tried to stay along the European vector.
Саме головне було
The main thing that was unacceptable for him was to follow the Asian Byzantine development, which later turned into a violent autocracy and resulted in the introduction of serfdom.
державством, кріпосним правом. Звичайно, в цій ситуації йому доводилося
Of course, in this situation he had to adapt to the circumstances, and here he faced the choice of a path and a search for allies.
його пошуки союзників.
Prince Daniel turned to the Pope of Rome with a request to muster up Slavs on a crusade against the Mongol-Tatars. Pope Innocent IV agreed, and in order to encourage the prince, he sent him a royal crown.
Це була так звана стема. Тобто
This was the so-called stemma. That is, it was a small gold ribbon around the head with teeth that decorated it.
увінчували.
Daniel's coronation and granting the principality of Galicia-Volhynia the status of a kingdom significantly increased the authority of the Ukrainian state in Europe. In 1253, counting on the support of Central Europe, Daniel began military operations against the Mongols. Soon he recaptured part of the territories of Podylia and Volhynia that were under their rule. It took them 5 years to return to Galicia and Volhynia with a new army and again take control of these lands. At this stage, Western support should have been crucial, however, it never came.
Коли вони оголосили хрестовий похід, то це було не більше, ніж піар.
When they proclaimed a crusade, it was nothing more than a PR gimmick and an empty declaration or hot air. After all, states that were powerful in military terms as France, Germany, and Sweden were not invited to join this campaign.
А держави такі, як
Instead, such states as Poland, Hungary, and southern Slavic countries that were involved in disputes among themselves were invited, and they had no desire to conflict with the Golden Horde.
ніякого бажання.
Therefore, Daniel had to break the union and fight on his own with Mongol-Tatars, but his chances were slim to none. He stepped back. Mongol-Tatar military leader Burundai, who arrived in the Galicia-Volhynia principality as the large army head, demanded that Daniel destroy the fortifications built by him around the cities. Only Holm disobeyed and left its fortifications intact.
Він змушений був піти на вимоги ординців.
Daniel was forced to meet the demands of the Golden Horde, in particular to stop his military reform. And this military reform was widespread.
Переглядався колишній
The
погляд.
old view of military fortifications was completely changed when cities were built on high cliffs and the walls were made of stone.
Стіни були кам'яними. Створювалася
A regular heavily armed cavalry was created.
так звана кована рать.
At the same time, infantry units were also reformed. Basically, Daniel remained unconquered until the end of his life.
Він залишався нескореним.
In 1264, King Daniel passed away. He was buried in the Holm Cathedral of the Nativity of the Holy Virgin Mary, built during his lifetime. After Daniel's death, the Galicia-Volhynia state was ruled for almost a century by his and his brother Vasilko's descendants. Among his sons, the most active was Leo, who ruled between 1264 to 1301. He conquered Transcarpathia with the city of Mukachevo from Hungary and Lublin lands from Poland. Thanks to this, the territory of the Galicia-Volhynia state became the most extensive in its entire history. In his descendants' memory, Daniel of Galicia remained as a ruler who set an example of unity for the great purpose of establishing statehood. His state established on the territory of Europe in the 13th century played a decisive role in the history of Ukraine at the first stage of the building of Ukrainian statehood. And Daniel's greatest merit is that he was a patriot of his land. Resurgence of interest in the history of Ukrainian statehood restored the personality of Prince Daniel in his right to have a worthy place in the pantheon of Ukrainian glory.